good evening to all of you. Thanks for tuning in to the Sunday edition of the Urban Debate. I'm Afrida Rahman Ali. Well, we are looking at the report coming out of the Election Commission today on the Nandigram incident. It's very interesting that the report squarely puts the responsibility on the security arrangements, saying that the local police deployed on the spot did not adequately provide for the security cover of Mamata Banerjee. In fact, the report says, and I quote here, it says that the local police arrangements at the spot of the incident were not commensurate with and adequate for the stature of the protectee. Now, the question therefore is the TMC trying to capitalize on this incident, trying to blow it out of proportion even now after the EC has made this statement? Mamata Banerjee continues to maintain that there is a conspiracy against her. What remains a fact, though, is that the Chief Minister is injured. She's wheelchair bound, and you have the CM of West Bengal out there back in the campaign trail, which reinforces her street fighter image. So the question we are asking is, irrespective of what the EC report says, are perceptions formed already? Which way will this incident resonate with the people of West Bengal just days ahead of voting? The EC has set the record straight, but is the perception or is the posturing that the TMC wanted done already? The TMC obviously wants to amplify this image of a 66-year-old woman leader who is out there with injuries, sitting on a wheelchair and campaigning today in Kolkata, drawing large crowds, and so has the Union Home Minister, of course, in Kharagpur, drawn huge crowds as he reinforces his message of Asol Poriborton and Sonar Bangla. So this is getting interesting. On one hand, just when you thought the optics are in favor of the BJP, with many of TMC seasoned leaders moving to the other side, it seems the TMC has turned the tables on the BJP with this incident now catapulting Mamata Banerjee center stage as somebody who has been, who the BJP has conspired against to eliminate and deflate and downsize the TMC campaign. So let me welcome my guests this evening. Priyanka Tibrewal, leader of the BJP, joining us here on Urban Debate. Good evening, Mr. Priyanka Tibrewal. Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist, also with us. Good evening, Mr. Mukherjee. And also very good evening to Riju Datta, member of the TMC, also with us on this episode. Let me first begin with you, Riju Datta. If you've gone through the report, what it says, the special observers in their joint report to the Election Commission has said, and again I'm quoting part of it, that there are no significant pointers to suggest that there was any premeditated or planned attack on the convoy of the Honourable Chief Minister. Why was the TMC in such a hurry to project this as an attack on Mamata Banerjee? Why was such a thing perpetuated without any grounds to suggest that such an attack could have happened under the circumstances?
First of all, very good evening to you, Afrida. And, with the Election Commission's decision of changing these top police officers, one thing is for very certain that there is a massive lapse of security when the CM was campaigning. So obviously the entire responsibility lies on the shoulders of the Election Commission, and removing these police officers.
No, now you are conceding there is a lapse of security. At that time you said there is a conspiracy and there is a premeditated motive behind this. Your Chief Minister continues to maintain that.
Let me just point it out to you that at that time also we very well said that there was a lapse of security because no policemen were present there. So it is established by the EC now. So whose responsibility? It is the EC's responsibility. And obviously they will not say it is an attack because they have to satisfy their top bosses at the center.
But Mamata Banerjee said 4 to 5 men pushed me. We have that, and I will ask my producers to cue that so we can play it as well for our viewers to understand. What did Mamata Banerjee say after the incident? 4 to 5 men pushed me and therefore I have suffered this injury. Isn't that a misleading statement to make, Mr. Riju Datta?
Absolutely not. I don't know if you have seen it or not, or you can see it on my Twitter or anywhere else. There are videos which are already on the social media where you can see 4 or 5 people pushing and slamming the door against the Chief Minister's leg and the Chief Minister pushing the door back from inside the car. It is quite well evident.
And therefore you came to the conclusion that BJP has mobilized some anti-social elements into the campaign. You sort of set up this whole narrative that there were certain men in the crowd No, that was said by TMC leaders that BJP has mobilized certain forces to infiltrate into Mamata Banerjee's campaign and they are responsible for it. Can you deny that your leaders said that?
See, I'm again saying, if you allow me to speak, the chronology from Dilip Ghosh's statement to Soumitra Khan's tweet stating that see what happens after 5 p.m. to 4 to 5 people viciously attacking Mamata Banerjee by slamming the door on her feet. It is all there. You have to see the chronology. You cannot. And moreover, the eyewitnesses that were interviewed by ANI, which are now proved to be planted by the BJP and all BJP's established cadres, it is quite out in the open that it was a...
No, forget the eyewitnesses and ANI. Let's go with independent observers who have submitted a report. Now we cannot go back to the eyewitnesses because one assumes that the independent observers would have spoken to those eyewitnesses, sir. Now you can't go back to that point because now we have reached a point where there is a comprehensive report on this.
I am going to categorically state after BJP has been left alone, left by all their allies, they have only 3 allies. CBI, ED, IT, and a new one has joined now, which is the Election Commission.
So now you're going off another track. Okay, let me bring in the other guests. Let's focus on this EC report, sir. We've heard that narrative where you blame the ED and the CBI of, playing puppets to the central government. That's a thing that we've already heard. It's not relevant right now. Let's talk about this particular incident. And Priyanka Tibrewal, the question that I want to ask you right now is that, whether whatever the EC report says, of course, setting the record straight, but the fact of the matter is, and this may not be very good news for you, but there was a snap poll carried out by C Voter of around 1,500 people. 44% of the respondents said that they believe Mamata Banerjee's claim. So, sometimes the damage is already done. The reality is that the EC report may not change perception of what has happened and whether there were people out there who were trying to attack the Chief Minister. And that obviously might go against your party's interest in West Bengal.
Very good evening. You see, this time the vote will not happen on whether Mamata Banerjee, whatever she's saying is true or untrue, whether whatever she's doing or claiming or accusing the Election Commission, the ED, the CBI, whether all that is true or whether it is a fact that yes, TMC has corruption charges. Yes, what Mamata Banerjee is saying is untrue because the report says so, that nobody attacked Mamata Banerjee. And this will not at all affect the voters because the voters will have only one thing in mind, and that is what is the development work, if any, done in the 10 years. What is the development work done in Nandigram? What about the promises made to the people of Nandigram? And yes, of course, Mamata Banerjee accusing and alleging and defaming the people of Nandigram. This will definitely go against Mamata Banerjee. So whatever she is thinking, that will not work for her at all. See, apart from that, the Election Commission removing and transferring these people.
But Priyanka Tibrewal, this is happening so close to the day of voting. What are the images that we are bombarded with today? You have a 66-year-old woman leader in a wheelchair campaigning in West Bengal. These are the images that resonates with the electorate, isn't it? Because we spoke to ground reporters who tell us that people are getting moved by this, image of a street fighter up against the might of the BJP's election machinery. You've unleashed your top leaders, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, have tirelessly campaigned in West Bengal, and here is an injured woman now in a wheelchair saying Khela hobe. Now, the fact is that the optics, just when it was going in your favor and there was a lot of exodus of top leaders from the TMC, suddenly the TMC has managed to turn the tables on you, ma'am.
No, not at all. This is completely not true because people of Bengal, they have been fooled by Mamata Banerjee and the TMC for so many years now that they very well understand that whatever she is doing is nothing but a novelty. And they understand that. Voters will question Mamata Banerjee on what has she done for the people of Bengal in 10 years. That is the reason that in order to shift the focus, she's on the wheelchair today because she has no face to say what she has done. She calls herself a scaly. Now, I would like to say when things were happening under her nose, when this corruption was happening under her nose, the mafia was happening under her nose, what did the scaly do? She kept quiet and then later told her party cadres to stop pushing and taking money for some time. So this is the truth of TMC, and they have been unable to eradicate themselves from these claims. So that is the reason why this entire...
Okay, let's have Riju Datta respond to that.
At that time.
Okay. So, Riju Datta, what Priyanka Tibrewal is saying, that the report card of 10 years is there for people to say, much as you would like to deflect, divert attention and obfuscate with incidents of this nature, the people are going to ultimately judge the Chief Minister with her track record.
So please give me the courtesy of giving me some time to talk. See, the bottom line is, I will not go into the 10-year report card, but I will only say this is the only state in the country that provides free ration, free healthcare, free education, and free life insurance to every resident of Bengal. Nobody can deny that. So that is development, and I've told it on national TV. Now, the bottom line is BJP has no manifesto, no agenda. They change their narrative every 24 hours because they have nothing. And now they have a candidate list, which is like a boring soap opera coming and coming and coming. And when you talk about Africa, when you talk about optics, in one way, it is true. Election is about perception and optics. In one side, you have Mamata Banerjee, a fighter, a survivor, on a wheelchair, campaigning for the people of Bengal, a Bengal daughter. And on the other side, a air-conditioned bus with tainted leaders probed by CBI, waving their hand at the people. So what do you think the people will choose for? That is what is going to come down to. So it is against 10 years of development.
That we are yet to find out, Mr. Riju Datta. But Kailash Vijayvargiya of the BJP says that this attempt to stir a controversy and gain sympathy has backfired on you. What is your response to that?
See, I think Kailash Vijayvargiya in a democracy in the country, he has his own opinion. But I think if he challenges the injury of Mamata Banerjee, if he challenges the incident which has happened, which is an attack that has happened on Mamata Banerjee, then I think BJP, in their desperation to win Bengal, have stooped to the lowest of the low.
Who's sounding desperate?
Well, Priyanka Tibrewal, would you respond to that? Also,
yes,
I want to ask you that, even though we are saying that, yes, this has punctured the TMC narrative, it has also in a way punctured your narrative, where you were also, some leaders of your party were also saying that this is stage managed and orchestrated by Mamata Banerjee. The EC report rubbishes that as well and says, well, there were some serious security lapses. The local arrangements of crowd management was lousy, and therefore this happened. It shouldn't have happened to a Z category plus protectee in the first place.
See, we are not to be held responsible for any kind of lapses, whether it was by the DM or whether it was by the police, because this is a state which is run by the Chief Minister. She is the police minister. So whatever steps the Election Commission is taking, it is their duty. They should. And we are happy about the fact that this proves that we do not run the Election Commission. And it doesn't work on our behalf as alleged by the TMC. So this comes out very, very clear.
You know what the lapse.
Okay.
I was quiet when you were speaking. Have the courtesy. I was quiet when you were speaking.
No, please maintain courtesy towards each other. Priyanka Tibrewal, complete quickly, and I want to bring in Gautam Mukherjee as well.
Yes. So today the Election Commission has ruled out that there was no kind of an attack which was alleged by them. So now they do not have a face. But even then they are trying to defame the Election Commission. So everything is very, very clear. See, they are so worried and concerned about our list, our candidates. When you say that we do not have candidates, we are not your opposition. Why are you so scared? We didn't speak for once as to who's your candidate, who's not your candidate. And you are so worried. You look so petrified and scared. Now,
but the fact of the matter is, Priyanka Tibrewal, this entire narrative has given more firepower to the street fighter image, and that is where I want to bring in Gautam Mukherjee. Good evening, sir. I want to ask you that, do you think this kind of an incident has come probably, of course, the Chief Minister was injured, she's in a wheelchair, we do wish her speedy recovery from the pain that she says she's in right now. But I want to ask you, something like this fits in perfectly with the street fighter image. That image has got bolstered, according to our ground reporters who've spoken to people, feel that this perhaps might resonate with the voters, irrespective of how the EC has set the record straight now. Where do you stand on that, Mr. Mukherjee?
Well, if hype substituted for reality, it would be along the lines of the street fighter and so forth. But what happened in effect was an accident. She was standing on the floorboard of her car and waving around. We've seen that on the videos. And somehow, possibly because there were people milling about. The door closed on her foot. That's as simple as what happened. And as after that, for her to hype this into a conspiracy is a very defensive act. And it doesn't really add any luster to her street fighter tactics, because in the earlier days, she was on the street. She was truly beaten up and put in hospital for days. Here, not even a bone broke. And all of these sort of optics are actually rather pathetic. Now, why is she being so defensive? Possibly because, at least as far as Nandigram goes, she may not win the seat. I think she's going to need another seat, a safe seat. And at the end of the day, it's tip and knock whether the BJP wins or whether the TMC wins. You know, the other narrative is it could go in terms of a sweep in favor of the BJP. While I cannot say that definitively at this point, certainly it's going to be a close call if both sides do what they are meant to do.
Right. There clearly then opinion is divided, but some other observers also say that this has become testimony to her indomitable fighting spirit, and of course the TMC is leaving no stone unturned to underline that. Riju Datta, would you like to respond to that? Here is Mr. Mukherjee here is saying that this kind of a thing will not add luster to your campaign or to a street fighter image. People are not so foolish. I mean, we have to give some credit to the intelligence of the voter in this.
See, first of all, with all due respect to Mr. Mukherjee, he's entitled to his opinion. But when he said that she has not even broken a bone, I think he should read a little bit more, where she has got a fracture in her left leg. And that is why she's out there in a cast plaster. So that's
She's standing up already.
See, the X-ray pictures are out there. So if you are doubting that, then I really doubt, you are doubting probably the medical knowledge of the top doctors.
The medical reports have said there's no fracture.
Please consult the doctor, sir. There has been a fracture in her left leg. That is why she's there on a cast plaster. Why I'm saying that? There must be a reason. That's why I'm saying it here. There is a break in her left leg. That's number one. Number two is, when you said, Afrida, in your key voters, see, the bottom line is people believe Mamata Banerjee. Mamata Banerjee's believability is a much higher than the believability of BJP in Bengal, because for the last 7 years, they have given nothing but fake promises.
Precisely why Mamata Banerjee should not be misusing. If she inspires that kind of confidence and she has that kind of credibility, you are saying that people tend to believe her, all the more reason why she should be accurate with what exactly happened, isn't it?
Mamata Banerjee is injured. There was an attack. There was a serious lapse.
Okay.
I'll tell you what the serious lapse happened. This is very important for you to know. Because on 9th March, there was a letter submitted to the EC.
Let me give the final word to Mr. Mukherjee. Okay, Priyanka Tibrewal, quickly respond.
Yes.
I just have one sentence closing comments for Priyanka Tibrewal and Gautam Mukherjee. Priyanka, you first.
Mukherjee said, I will just add to that, today is Sunday, the 14th March, time is 8:20 p.m. I am telling you that Mamata Banerjee is so scared that she will declare after some time that she is contesting from 2 seats. And please mind the date and time. I'm already mentioning this. Please mind the date and time. Whatever Mr. Datta is saying that she's attacked, he wants us just to believe on what they are saying, and everyone is lying. Be it the election commission, be it the police, be it the CBI, be it everyone.
So now you have an independent probe. Let's go with what the EC report is saying. There was no attack. This was an accident. Gautam Mukherjee, one final word to you. I also want to ask you that while you say that the TMC might be hoping this narrative will go in their favor, that might not be the case. But nevertheless, this is a pitch to battle. Look at the kind of names that BJP is bringing out now. They're making their sitting MPs contest election. So clearly, even the other side is not extremely confident at this stage, seeing the kind of image that the TMC has managed to catapult to the national conscience.
Well, it's very clear that the TMC is deeply entrenched. Mamata Banerjee is a very charismatic leader. She is under pressure. Whether she loses or wins remains to be seen. But this kind of, theatrics
Yes.
and lying on her part directly is, not putting her in a good light as far as her own confidence is concerned. There was no conspiracy. It was an accident. It can happen in a milling situation like that. Accusing the EC, the BJP, God, and people alike is not going to help her.
And people are justifying it. Unbelievable.
All right. Okay, we'll have to leave it at that. The report is out. The report very categorically said the local police preparedness was not sufficient for dealing with this kind of a crowd that gathered at the spot, and it was an inadvertent incident that happened. The car moved at a point or at a time where it was not supposed to move. The door slammed and that caused the injury. Now, that is what the EC report says about what happened on Nandigram last Wednesday. Thank you for joining us, Gautam Mukherjee, Priyanka Tibrewal and Riju Datta, for giving us your time.